Today I am talking about Cardinal Detecto DL, these are 1030s, and CAS LP1000N. And I'd like to just compare these two models and show you what the differences are and why one is more preferred than other, or maybe you can consider these as an alternative. So to begin with, both of these scale units print labels, right? So these are both label printing scale, therefore they can work with Clover. This scale right here is 30 pounds capacity, right? So you can measure up to 30 pounds on its plate. And this scale right here has a 30-pound capacity, but it also has a model with a 60-pound capacity. And the price would still be under, so it would still be, this one would still be cheaper than this one. As far as the label configuration is concerned, these are pretty compatible. So both of them will take pretty much any labels, configuration. So let me show you how it's done. So on this one, the drawer is right here, right? So there are some pins that you would have to take out, like these, right? So this would be the roll of paper, and these, okay? And so the paper kind of gets loaded, so there's the print head that opens and closes right here, right? And the paper gets loaded and it rolls onto here. And so that's how that's done with CAS. And then this part right here with CAS also opens to expose the printing mechanism. Close this, I'll show you. Right down there. Alright, so just gonna fix this real quick. Alright, so that's done. So you can see that this can be exposed as well. And we can close this back down. Like so. Alright, so that's CAS. Now, to do the same thing with Detecto, I would need to basically lift this top part off and expose the label printing mechanism here. So let me just kind of lift this up and show you. There it is. And this right here, in fact I have to do this with both my hands. But so there, I've opened the print head. And you can see the paper loaded there, okay? And so then let's just put it kind of back down. There, close to the print head, close to the label, and the label comes out right here on the side. All right, and now I'm just gonna roll this top back on top. So very simple, both of them are very simple. Then there is the connections, right? So let me show you what CAS offers with connections. And so what you have with CAS here is a USB right there and the serial port, right? So you wouldn't be able to use this because you probably wouldn't find a computer that still has this. But this you would use. So this is a USB connection, very useful. So using the USB cable, then you can connect this scale to a computer and work with it, okay? And this right here is Detecto options. They're on this side here. Screwed off the, okay, there it is. And so the connection options here are basically what looks like a network cable. Again, a different version of a serial port, and more importantly, this one right here, it's a USB thumb drive, right? So you can grab a thumb drive and not have to connect the scale to the computer at all. You can just do everything on the computer and then save it to a thumb drive and import it. Right, so that's kind of more connection options here than here. Plus, this scale is capable of storing 4,000 items. This scale is capable of storing a little bit under 6,000 items, 5,900 something. However, it's important to note that the first 300, like by default, right? So the nuances. When you're setting up this scale, whatever the amount of scales up to 4,000 items will pretty much work the same. Whereas when you're setting up scale on items on this scale, the first 300 items will function based on one label template. The next 300 items will function off of the next label template, which is all defaulted and programmed, and those are just the little nuances that you have to know how to deal with. And this kind of brings me back to scale for clothing, right? So if you're buying scale from us, we will support and train you on how to use these models or these models. But let me give you a little dirty secret. So why today am I comparing this scale to that one? Well, because that one is completely out of stock, and maybe we'll get it in January. Maybe while I am in line, our line will not reach by the time they run out of the container that was, that finally had arrived. So everybody knows that, there's the supply chain shortages and issues with just being able to get stock. So we are lucky enough to have these at the moment. And I just wanted you to see what the alternatives are, because this is probably the most commonly requested model. And this one we happen to have in stock. And so what are the issues? So I don't know if you've noticed or not, but this measuring, let me just actually, take this one off. And I believe I can take this one off too. And I'd like to just put them side by side so you can see the difference between these plates and what, this is CAS is the one behind, so this is CAS, this is Detecto, that much, right, so that much difference right here is bigger, and it's also a little wider, about this much wider, right, so definitely a bigger scale unit, the CAS than Detecto. So that's the drawback, right? So if you can deal with that, this is a really good alternative. Both of them are double, so the display will be on the back end and on the front end. You can see that they have a pretty big amount of room for spacing for doing the the short keys. These guys have 54. These ones have probably 3 times as much, because you can just repeat the screen 3 times basically. And so there it is. That's the comparison.